Good morning, good morning, good morning. Hope you are good today. It's a bright day. Yeah, very bright. Yesterday here, places were flooding. Today it's not flooding anywhere. Yeah. The movement is, there are a lot of cars actually today, more than yesterday. Yesterday, but today, I think I even have to use a shortcut. Yeah, so today I think I'm going to give my final verdict: new car versus old car. I'm not saying don't buy a new car. Go buy a new car if it makes sense. So I have a review that is coming up of a sub. Yep. Yes. Yeah. Yes, Nana. New car versus old car. Yeah, today bright day. You can't even believe yesterday it rained cats and dogs. Very clear. And also there are a lot of cars. Yesterday this place was dry, empty. So I just drove a straight, went straight through. Today is a different case. There is even jam. So today I'm going to be giving what I think is the final verdict, my personal final verdict. Someone else might give you another thought, which is okay. And then you can make the comparison and see what to do. That was one of my followers was asking me 2 days ago that Arthur, it's actually jam. Asking me that Arthur, you were telling me it doesn't make sense to buy an old car at 15 when I can buy a new one at 20. Yeah, of course, some instances math is math. Like, why would you buy an old car at whoa, today there is a lot of jam. There's a lot of jam today. A lot of jam. Yeah. So why would you buy an old car at 15 when you can get a new one at 17? There are cars you can buy at 17 million in the bond, yet you go on and buy an old car at 15. You get, simply because and normally this happens to guys that are stuck to car types in Njagala Spacio, and you end up buying a Spacio UAZ at 15 million when you can buy a Sienta at 18 in the bond, just an extra of 3 million. If you went with 15 million into the bond, they'll actually give you that card, give you 4 months to pay the balance. Simple math. So, but if you don't have all that money, I don't see a reason why you go to the bond and borrow a car of 35 million when you have, let's say, 18. You get. Sometimes it doesn't make sense to me. So I want to make a verdict today to rabe if it can make sense to someone to actually buy. Normally, the reason why people don't like buying old cars is because they are scared of actually making the wrong choice. I can actually buy an old car which is bad and it ends up making me broke. But from experience, it's very hard for you to buy an old car and you spend the money that someone used to buy a new car. You can't even spend 3/4. Yet you don't even spend that money at once. You can't spend that money at once. If, for example, you're going to be spending 8 million on fixing a car, you will not spend all the 8 million at once. You'll spend 500 this month, spend another 500 next month, spend another 500 next month. Now you can imagine, if you have the 8 million on the account, it means if you spend 500 this month, you can use the 7.5 in your business. You spend another 500 next month, you're using 7 million on your business. You get it? So it's not like you fork out all the money at once and put it in the car. That's my experience. And sometimes these cars, if you pick a car and you know the problem, sometimes you can actually drive that problem. For example, there are simple things that can be managed as you drive, like the noises. Sometimes you panic because when you buy a car, you want it to be as good as brand new. Yet that is impossible. You have bought an old car. You get so you fix the things that can stop it from moving. For example, you service the engine, you service the gearbox if need be. You buy the new tires, because I told you when you buy an old car, you need to know that you're going to buy new tires. So you buy new tires, okay? You service the braking system, okay? You buy a windscreen if it's cracked, okay? You take it for a wash. They wash the entire interior. That costs like about 60 to 50. They wash the seats, the carpet, and all. Yeah. If you want the AC and it has no AC, then you fix the AC up. That will cost you like 500k maximum. But normally, I don't pick cars for people that have no AC. If I'm part of the team that is going to select a car for you, and make sure the AC is there or that it only needs refill. Like for example, when I bought my Corolla, the AC was not working, but it was a problem of the fuse, and I saw that. So when I came, I just fixed the fuse and the AC started working. And then the next day I went for a refill, which I paid 60,000. They refilled the gas, and voila, the AC was cold, ice cold. Yeah, so you just need to make the good choice when you're buying a used car, a Ugandan used car. Make the good choice and keep using the rest of your money to you get. For the guys that don't understand Uganda, means developing yourself. Yeah, and developing yourself means doing business, side hustles and all. Like for me now, this YouTube channel is a side hustle, okay? The trackers are a side hustle, okay? Yesterday, by the way, we sold a tracker. We installed a tracker in someone's car. So if you're there, my brother, so a gentleman here that follows me recommended that the wife installs the tracking device, and she was very happy. She was very happy. So we installed the tracking device, and she saw all the functions. She actually tried. She stopped the engine right there, and then she stopped the engine using her phone. She called the tracker and even had herself speak. She was very happy. So I showed her all the other functions that she could do with her phone on the tracking device, and she was very happy. That's a Honda Stream in front of us. So that's a race version, the Honda Stream. It's very fast. Yeah. So she was very delighted. I'm glad that we made her happy. And we installed the tracking device in not more than 40 minutes. We went to her, and of course we told her, don't tell anyone about the tracking device apart from your husband. Let us and you know about the tracking device. And then you can actually wake up at night and see where your car is. You check on it, see is the engine still off, has anybody touched the car, yeah, and stuff like that. Yeah, she was very happy. I'm glad. So if you're out there and you have a car, you have your auntie who has a car, you bought a car for your parents, you will have to keep it safe, so we can come and install a tracking device for you. It is safe, so that if you want, it's you who will start controlling the car. You can be the one to track it from abroad there if they don't have a smartphone, for example. We install the tracking device, we send you the settings, and then you start controlling, you start seeing where the car is, because that's an asset. A car, I've told you time and again that a car is an asset, and assets need to be protected. And someone yesterday was asking me about the smoke. You see what the Honda Stream has? That's mist. That's not smoke. That's a mist. Now mist, when you touch on the exhaust in the morning and that mist is coming out, your hands will even get wet. The smoke, on the other hand, because this mist doesn't even have a smell, okay, it's smellless, it's odorless. But the white smoke, if I see a car that has white smoke, I'll show you. Now the white mist comes in the morning because the engine kind of is like reacting to the environment, and the mist simply tells you the engine is still healthy. So when you find an I'll give you an example. If an old engine is overhauled, and they do it properly, the car will start actually getting the mist in the morning. Yeah, so that's how you know that the engine is actually, it burns fuel properly. Now there's another kind of smoke, the black smoke. The black smoke tells you that the engine is not burning fuel. Actually, normally when a car lets off black smoke, you realize that fuel consumption will go really high. Why? Because the plugs are getting wet. Okay, fuel is not being burnt, and there is extra fuel that stays in the plugs. Yeah, that's why it will be letting off black smoke. The piston is probably wet and all. So and then the white smoke simply means your engine is not good. Your engine is consuming oil in your oil. Yes, that's when the car is. But that's for petrol cars though. For diesel cars, black smoke is healthy. Yeah, it's healthy. It's the white smoke that is not healthy still. For diesel cars, white smoke still means that the car is consuming oil. So it's important that we understand that. Let me put the AC and I clear the windows a little. See? So the windscreen is clearer. Yeah, so we need to understand old car versus new car. I've driven old cars like literally all my life. The car that I came close to buying that was almost new was still old. It was my Vitz. I bought it in 2018. I bought it 10 million, and at that time, I was going to do Uber part time as well. Yeah, times were tough, so I bought the Vitz, and it made me some money. Yeah, I don't regret doing that. But it was also Ugandan driven, and that Vitz, I also fixed it. I fixed a bit of things. I didn't put in a lot of money in fixing because it was in very good condition though. Yeah, the AC worked, almost all the systems worked properly. Yeah, I think that's the most expensive car that I've bought. And then along the way, I think I bought a Raum about 6 million. Then I bought a Mark II Musota around 4.5. I bought an Ipsam. The Ipsam I bought, the engine was in the basin. So I towed it away, took it to my garage, and I had my mechanic fix it up. Then I drove it for like a month and sold it. Yeah, I think I drove a Golf 4 for some time. Then I drove a Mercedes-Benz C200 for some time. Then I drove a Polo for some time. But my very first car was a Chivina, Corona Chivina. Then along the way I drove a Chikumi. I drove a Nyongeza, what people call the K-truck. Yeah. Yeah, then I drove a Caldina, I drove a G-Touring. Yeah, then I drove Dudus. Yeah, I drove the first Dudu, sold it, gone to Chivina, then Dudu again. So I keep downgrading whenever I feel I need to downgrade. Why? Because cash is king, so you need capital most of the times. So, and I use cars to keep my money. So if tomorrow I needed capital, which for now is quite unlikely, if I need capital tomorrow, the first thing I would sell would be the car, and then I get the capital, and then I buy another simpler car. Yeah, because there plots of land and houses are off bounds for me, because those are capital assets that gain value over time. Yeah, so I don't touch those. A new car. Yesterday I drove a new car. And the experience was nice. It was new. There was the new car smell, and the new car smell is quite addictive. I think that's why when someone starts driving new cars, they don't stop. So there was the new car smell, and there was the comfort as well. It was really comfortable. Then the sounds you hear, they were not there. Yeah. So someone would say, why not buy a new car when you can? See? So there was a new car smell. There was no Kuwagana at all, no sounds. And then I think the handling was new car-ish. It looked really nice, like all the new things. Like you buy a phone, new Techno in a box. Most of us guys that handle Samsungs buy old Samsungs. Most of the iPhone guys buy old iPhones, but the Techno guys buy new Technos. Yeah, so we know when you open your new Techno phone in the box, how it feels. I think that's how a new car feels. Yeah, so it felt really nice. It felt really nice to drive this this new baby. And afterwards, I was driven. The owner actually drove me, and then he dropped me off, and then I went back to my car, my Corolla. I came back to my Corolla, and then I started. I did the comparison, and the findings is what I'm going to give you today, because it would be unfair for me to come here and tell you. It would be unfair, of course, to tell you that Togura Motoka Ampia, because who wouldn't want to? Yeah, so I'm making the comparison for hustlers like me that want to know, should I go to the bond and borrow a car? Should I use all my money to buy a new car? Does it make sense to use all my money to buy a new car and then keep none? Should I sell my plot of land and use all the money to buy a new car? Is an old car? Can I get a good old car? That's why I told you I've been driving old cars literally all my life, and I know guys that have been driving old cars. I also know guys that used to buy new cars, but then they switched to old cars because, well, they realized, okay, the old cars are okay. I also know guys that used to drive old cars, and then they switched to new cars because they realized old cars are such a waste of time and a waste of money. So I'll just start buying a new car. I'll by telling you, for starters, it doesn't make sense to buy a car and then pay for parking. Okay, in this our Uganda, it doesn't make sense. Why? Because literally most of the guys that build rentals now, but parking. So if you have a car, you should actually rent a place that has parking. Don't rent a place in Morocco you pay parking for it every night. Also, don't rent in places that are unsafe for you and your car, because why are you renting in a place where you wake up almost every month with the number plates gone, with lights gone? Why you rent in a place like that? Okay, for example, you see this place there, that's a parking. So why would I buy a car and then end up parking it in a place where I also pay for parking? For me, it doesn't make sense. I think that's the one thing that I made sure of. When I started paying for parking where I used to rent, I decided to build my own place because it was a small plot, but I made sure I kept a place for a car. And just like that, I had parking spot, parking for my car per se, and it was downhill, so when it would rain, I would not take my car down there. I had to park at a friend's home. Yeah, and then I realized it was becoming difficult for them to give me parking space. So it's one of the reasons I decided to actually shift and go where I live now, 35 kilometers from town. Then I used to live 14 kilometers from town. Yeah, and then where I live, I have a lot of parking space. I can park like 80 in my plot, and I'll still have space for 2 more cars. Yeah, so, but I have 1 car. So it doesn't make sense for someone to buy a car and then pay for parking again. Also, I'd find that unless you use the car for business, like you have to travel to clients all the time, I don't see a reason for you to go and buy a new car, a very new car, because if you use the car to go to see clients, chances are high that they gauge your ability to do the work with how much you've been able to accumulate in the kind of business you do. For example, if you're a real estate broker, people are going to respect you a lot if you drive, because then you can tell them, and I've actually been able to raise money to build myself a life, to buy a good car, to build a good home. You get, if you're a real estate broker, or to do costing for a client, because, well, this person is good to advise me because he has been able to build to do something for himself in the line of work that he's in. You get, so a person that does a business like construction, it's nice that you buy a good pickup for yourself. You get, because with this pickup you can actually carry wheelbarrows and all, you can carry your builders and all. Okay, in a business like real estate, you can have still a good pickup would work, but you can have a good harrier, a good RAV4, a good fielder, whereby you can tell clients, let's go, inspection is free, you just buy fuel and we go in my car, they sit in your car, they feel comfortable, they go with you. You get, so it makes sense to buy a car because your work involves movement. But if you have a shop that is in your neighborhood, you can walk there is no reason for you to buy a car. I'm just being honest. Yeah, it feels nice. Yes, you're watching for the love of cars now because you feel there is a need for you to buy a car. But if you have a shop and it's in your neighborhood, you walk there 10 minutes and you're at the shop, you don't need a car. Okay, you need your Futsubishi. Wait until probably your business grows and then you have a branch that you need to drive to, then you can buy a car. That's my piece of advice. Then also, if you're the kind of person that works for, you work at your workplace, they give you transport. For example, they have a van that picks you every day from a certain area and they take you to work and then they bring you back. You don't need a car. Okay, you don't need a car. Also, if you're the kind of person who works in town and you have no parking there, you still don't need a car because you'll not be driving every day. Parking will end up being expensive for you. Then you start losing lights, you start losing side mirrors, and then the car will become a liability in your life. Okay, so you don't need a car. If you're the kind of person that only needs the car in December, you don't need a car, either new or old, because in December you can literally hire a car for 200 to 300 a week. No genda mucharo no komao. I can also hire you my car at 500. It's a youngest CRIs, 500 a week, and then you go to your village and then come back. That's if you drive manual. I can give my car Corolla with too much pain. Okay, the way you got it. It will be painful. A week. But you can get cheap cars and new cars, by the way. You can hire them for as little as 200,000 a week, and you're going away. Of course, up country is more expensive, but I'm just trying to show you that not everyone needs to buy a car, new or old. Okay, it's mostly the people that use these cars for business that need to buy the cars. Then before I start to make the comparison. So now I'm going to make the comparison. I drove a new car yesterday. I have a friend that drives a new car. He sometimes lets me park it for him, for me to feel the new car. He's trying to encourage me to buy a new car, and yeah, so I've been trying to get this concept of new car, and I'm going to make the comparison for you. I just wanted for a few more guys to come, but since they are not coming, give me a shout out if you're here. Tell me where you're watching from and what you think. Yes, Brian, good morning. Brian, Kenneth, good morning. Abe, good morning. Yeah, new car, old car. So I'm at the traffic lights. I've already driven half of my journey. Like I've driven 20 kilometers already. No, like 18 kilometers of my journey are done. Yeah. So that's how my Corolla serves me. I love my car Corolla. I drive it every day, 85 kilometers, and it keeps going. So happy new car, old car. I'm going to make this comparison now. Now, old car, you need to know what I mean by old car. Old car is a car that has been driven on Ugandan roads for whichever time. You see that Alex in front of me? It's a UAZ. That's an old car. My Corolla UAM, that's an old car. You find a car on UAB, that's an old car. You find a Paso on UBA, that's an old car. Okay, but new car, when I say new car, I mean you go to the bond and buy UBL, UBK, okay, UBJ. Yes, Bruce, good morning. Thank you for being here. So you go to the bond and you buy a UBK, UBM. UBM, that's a new car. Ngagwaji Tandise, the first driver here in Uganda. Okay, that will be a new car. So yesterday while driving and while being driven, and all the other days that I've been driving, these new cars that my friends have been buying, not that I'm against it. You can buy a new car. I'm just making sure that we guys understand, especially the hustlers like me, that we make shilling by shilling. Me, I make shilling by shilling. So for me, it's very important that I know my facts before I make a decision. I was excited for like 30 minutes. You'll see the video I did a video in one of the new cars, and it excites me every time I sit in a new car. I almost go to the bond to buy a new car. I almost go to the bond every time I drive a new car. And but you know what happens with the new cars? You drive it for like 40 minutes, then it dawns on you, you hit your head and say, okay, you need to wake up, Arthur. What are your goals? Like I need to buy a chikege for my business. I need to buy a chikege. Then I don't know me, Arthur, you need to buy a chikege for your business first. Then okay, you need to create employment for people. How many people need your employment from you? Yes, good morning, Fred from Dubai. Yeah, so and then I realized that a lot of people are actually looking forward to working for me, and I have like 15 people that have not yet started putting on payroll, and we can actually do that by building nice products, long-lasting products. I recently invested in a product, and it took a lot of the money. Yeah, it took a lot of money. It has not yet. We are just going to brand from Qatar. Yes, nice to have you. So our product has taken a lot of money, but we are going to probably sell it next year. You see, but once these products get sold, for example, me, I'll be employing at least 15 people. Now, for me, that makes a lot of sense. You employ 15 people, give them medical insurance. You're helping someone provide for a family. Those are 15 families that will be benefiting from this. So then I hit myself on the head every time I get excited about a new car. Yeah. So new car versus old car. Let me first let me first try to tell you what the risks you take by buying an old car. One, if you're going to go buy an old car, you risk buying a car that has been in an accident. Someone has a car involved in an accident and they fix it up very well. It will take you a lot of time for you to know. And normally, things like this, we don't see them until we have driven the car for like a few months. Then you realize, that's risk number one. Risk number two is you risk buying a car that doesn't have straight papers in Tiari and Zibe. For example, there is a Mark II that I sold to someone and he refused to pay my balance. He sold it to someone in Ginger, but I demand that car like 3 million. And by the time I catch that car, I'll want 5 million. He bought it for 1 million, but they sold it to him for 1 million. You get? So, of course, the person that bought knew and he took the risk of not paying me. But wherever I get the car, I know what to do for it to get my money. So that's another risk. The other risk you take is you take a risk of getting a car that needs almost fixing everything. That's a risk. But you know, there is also a risk of actually getting a car that you're going to drive for a very long time, like me. The distance I've driven in the past 6 months, people drive it in 2 years. So I've already driven 2 years worth of in my Corolla. Of course, I've done a lot of fix. Bought new cars fix. So in a way, for me, I don't feel bad. I've bought worse cars, okay? But still, even with the fixes I've done, I've not spent money that can buy a Paso in a bond, and the Paso is like kind of the cheapest car right now. So I've not spent money that can buy a Paso in a bond. So I've not spent as much as a new car. You get? Yet I drive more distances than some new cars every day. So of course there are risks there. The new car, you get the same risks, by the way. You get the same risks. For example, you can buy a new car that has a faulty engine and you don't know it until it blows. Also, you can buy a new car and it has a lot of things to fix down there. You don't know because it's new. Of course, you realize that also later when you have driven it for a few weeks. Okay? You can also buy a new car that doesn't have straight papers. That's very possible. The guys in bonds these days know how to fake number plates. They know how to fake logbooks. You get, that's also possible. And with that new car, you never know and go good them URA, and then they take the car. And normally when they take that car, it never comes back to you. And then you start going to the courts to claim your money from the bond guys. You get. So it's important to note that all these cars have almost the same risks. It's just that with the new car, at least you get to enjoy the new car smell. Now, what do you get in a new car that you don't get in an old car? That's what I'm going to start saying now. One thing I realized yesterday is that the new car looks new. The new car looks new. You go to the bond, the car has no filler, okay, it has no scratches. It looks new in and out. That's the first thing you get with a new car. You don't get that with the old car. Okay, you don't get that with my UAM Corolla. It looks new, feels new. You handle the steering wheel and it's new. You touch the dashboard and it's new. You touch the body and it's smooth. No at all. The radio sounds new. The speakers are still new. The engine sounds new. Okay, that's the first thing you get with a new car. It looks good. It looks new. It looks beautiful. It looks smooth, in and out. It doesn't have the dust of Uganda. So basically, you don't need to wash it. The other thing you get with a new car, you get about 3 things, by the way. The new car. The other thing you get with a new car is you get the prestige of driving a new car. You get the prestige of driving a new car. You get the prestige of driving a new car. The first thing you get is that it looks new, looks nice. The second thing you get when you get a new car is that you get the prestige of driving a Kanamba. Gayavuga Kanamba. You don't know how babes look at you when you're driving a Kanamba. Yesterday I met my sister-in-law and you don't know the look she gave me. And she's my sister-in-law. You don't know the look my sister-in-law gave me. It was not my car, but it was a new car. The new car gives you the prestige of a Kanamba, Gaya Vuga Kanamba, Gaya Chikwata. You get. Point number 1, the first thing you get with a new car is it looks new. You know the feel you get when you unbox the phone? That's the feel you get when you buy a new car. You're basically unboxing it. The prestige. Everybody looks at you different. Everybody say, my sister-in-law looked at me. The smile she gave me was not like the smile she gives me. Let me even, you face me, you see me. The song, but I'm working. I'm working now. I can't put a song. So, let me tell you. Yesterday, I drove that new car and my sister-in-law was giving me something because we were going to install a tracking device somewhere. And so I got a chance to drive this new car to to the site where we were installing the tracking device. And I went to my sister-in-law to pick what she was giving me. Ha! People! Eh? If you have never known what prestige is, buy a new car, Kanamba. My sister-in-law gave me a look like I could have married her as a second wife at that moment. The car was not mine. I'm sure she knows. I'm not the kind to buy a new car. But you know, yeah, sorry guys. Airtel internet is misbehaving. Airtel internet misbehaves. But I'm back. Let me just try to stall so that all the guys actually come back. Airtel internet is bad. We pay a lot for it, but it misbehaves anyway. So I was still telling you, the first benefit you get from the car is that it's new. It looks new, feels new. The second benefit is that you get the prestige. They're almost calling you boss. Hey, now I'm cleaning. So, where are the wipes? So, you get those two benefits. The third benefit you get from that car is that you don't go to the garage for the first few months. Like 12 months before, when you have just bought a new car from the bond, you don't go to the garage. You can actually avoid going to the garage for a year. You can. So just know, you get the first benefit you get, the car feels new. The second benefit is that you get the respect, the prestige of dude gets money, got money, yafunye sent, yakubi HD, now he has avuga kanamba. And the third one is that you don't go to the garage as often as Arthur in his UAM. Because when Arthur buys his UAM, he has bought an old car. And there are things that need to be fixing. In the very first week, actually the very first day, he goes to the garage and probably checks the brakes, nakora service, and probably change the bushes. You get, and the tires. When you buy a car from the bond, you can basically buy the tires, drive the tires for like 4 months or more. Me, normally when I buy, and also sometimes when I buy a used car, an old car in Uganda, I can still drive the tires. Sometimes you buy an old car and the tires are still there. They are still drivable, they still have tread, they are not expired. There are chances that you can get a car where you don't have to fix things immediately when you buy. You can buy a car and you drive it for 8 months, an old car in Uganda, and you drive it for 8 months without fixing anything. That's very possible. So kati oba the benefit of not going to the garage immediately. I didn't get used today.
Right here.
Okay.
That you don't have that in your car.
The what?
The uniform in your car.
The uniform? I don't, because my car is not as big as that. So it's important that we understand that all the benefits you get in a new car, you can actually get in an old car. You can buy an old car and you don't go to the garage for 5 months when you're just driving. You can buy an old car and you still get prestige. How can you get prestige by buying an old car? First things first, you can be the first to buy a car in your family. Trust me, you'll get the prestige. I told you. Then, two, you can still get an old car and make it new. See. So, like me, I repainted my car and right now it feels almost new. I came back from driving an old car, from driving a new car to drive my old UAM Corolla, and I looked at it and I said, okay, it actually doesn't look that old. Yeah, I know it's old, but it actually doesn't look that old. And then the past 1 week I realized some of the things that I've been fixing because I want it to feel new, not because it's bad. So I realized that, and The benefits you get from an old car are those three. The main three benefits you get from buying a new car. Ziri ssatu zokka. One, it feels new. Two, you get the prestige. I told you the way my sister-in-law was looking at me yesterday. It was not my car, and I know she knows it's not my car. But the look she gave me, you get it? So that's the second benefit. The third benefit is that you get to not go to the garage as often as Arthur in his UAM. You can drive that new car for 6 months in Gatokanise without fixing anything. That can happen. But it's also important for us to understand. Okay, I have an appointment, I think at 9. Let me see if I drive from here now. I'll reach that place 8:40. Yeah, and I wait it out. Arthur, you have not answered the boy's question properly. Okay, which one? Which question, Brian? The thing I don't have in my car. No, he was comparing my car to a Harrier. Yeah, and one of the parents drives a very new Harrier, like the latest models. And he was asking me why I don't even know what he was asking. I just told her my car is not as big as that one. But of course, some of the parents that go to take these kids to this kids school, they are hyper. Banene. So it's you cannot think you can compare yourself to those guys. I think I've answered him. I just told him the car is bigger than mine. I think he has understood that. So you get three main benefits from buying a new car from the bond. Kati, what you have to think about, are these benefits worth 30 million? Are these benefits worth an extra 20 million? You get, because you can get a used car at 10 million and you drive it for 5 months without fixing anything. That I can tell you. You can get a used car, an old car at 7 million and you drive it for 7 months without going to the garage. And contrary to what people think, you can get a car, an old car with a healthy engine, healthy gearbox. You can get an old car with good tires. You can get an old car with a good windscreen. You can get an old car that has no police receipts. You can basically get an old car that is in very good condition. So you need to think, the three benefits I've given you, and none of the three benefits I've given you mean you lose your life if you buy an old car. I'll remind you again, this video is for people that are hustling like me, where every shilling counts to you. Okay, this video is for you. My brothers like Brian, the brothers that are abroad in Uganda, you went to collect your money, come back and get a better life for you and your family. You need to actually start thinking, does it make sense for me to go to the bond and buy a new car, personal use, or even business, but a small car like a saloon, like a Corolla like mine, a Sienta? Will it make sense for you to go and spend 25 million, 30 million on a car? For you to get one, a new car look, a new car feel, a new car smell. Two, prestige, so that your sister-in-law looks at you the way my sister-in-law looked at me. Three, so that you don't get to go to the garage as often as Arthur. And trust me, I set off at home at 6:30. I drive 35 kilometers, 42 kilometers to town, and then I go to work. I have no time to go to the garage. And in case I want something fixed, I call the mechanic to come to the work park, my parking place of work at my office. He fixes. That means those are not big fixes. He changes brakes, changes the brake cylinder and all. You get, so it's important that we understand that. So I don't normally go to the garage myself, okay? And there are things that need to be fixed in this car, but I can still drive it when I've not yet fixed them. And I drive 85 kilometers every day. So the three benefits, are they worth all that money? Okay? Then I gave you a scenario. If you're the kind of person that does businesses where your car is tied to your worth, like in real estate, where the kind of car you drive will influence the buying mindset of the person that is buying land, for example. If you come to sell to someone land and you're driving in a Harrier Kawundu, that will affect the buyer perspective of you. Now I'm speaking as a marketing person. I went and had training in marketing, and I do marketing daily. Like I said, I can also help you streamline the marketing systems of your business so that you make much more money, you get more customers. Kati, if you come and you're going to sell me land, for example, and you come on a border B, I start away thinking on a broker, ordinary brokers. You get what I'm saying? But if you come to sell to me land and you're driving a Kawundo, I'll start thinking, this guy actually made some money from his job. He must be good. He must be reliable. I start thinking, this guy has some money. You get what I'm saying? In that kind of line of business, you can go and buy a new car from the bond. But still, you don't need a new car from the bond. You need a car that looks like new. Because still, you can come in a car that is a USZ, and I'm thinking, okay, this guy has been driving for some time. He has driven his car for some time. Still, I'll not underlook you because yes, you're driving a good car. So sometimes it's the point of just driving a good car. Sometimes it's just about driving a car that is in good condition. I hope I make sense. If you're in the kind of business where you do delivery for people, and the kind of transport or fuel money they give you, the refund they give you for transport is tied to the car you drive or the border you came with, then buying a car might be a wise decision. Buying a car from the bond might be a wise decision. But still, I've realized that, like for example, I went to install a tracker yesterday, but it was not tied to the fact that we came in a UBL or we came in a UBK or we came in a UBM. No. She paid exactly the amount that I charged her in the invoice because I sent her an invoice before we went. So then it would not matter whether we took a border or whether we took a car. She knew that I was going to charge her 350 for the tracker. She paid happily, not because we came in a UBM. She paid happily because we gave her what we said we would give her, and we even gave her more than she expected. You get? So she paid happily because of that. So it doesn't matter whether I have a UBK, UBM, UBH. Okay, give customers a good service. But having a car might be a plus. It instills trust. People trust you better if you don't look like you don't have anything. If you look like you have some assets to your name, people trust you better. So depending on the kind of business you're going to be doing, if you're an electrician, for example, I know some guys that are electricians, and you come to do electrical installation in my house, and you come when you drive, all your tools are in that car, I'll get a little more confidence out of this, saying, okay, this guy has been doing it for some time. He even managed to buy a car for himself. Okay? But if you come on a border, I'm thinking, and let's say you're 29, I'm thinking to myself, this guy has been doing electronics since he was like 24. I'm imagining that when you go to study, normally we graduate when we're around 23 or 24. So I'll be thinking to myself, this guy since 24, he has been doing electronic wiring. He has not managed to buy a form of transport for himself. You get? In my head, I'll be like, okay, then and I'll be looking at you to see what you're doing, to make sure that you're not messing up my house. You get what I'm saying? But if you come, of course, there are other things that influence customer buying perceptions, like do you have a uniform or overall? Do you have the right tools for your job? Do you speak do you have the right vocabulary for your job? Because someone ajakuja to do wiring in your house, ngatamanyi what a main switch is called. This thing, he doesn't know terms like junctions. He doesn't know terms like testers. He doesn't even have testers. Guy comes to do wiring in your house and he starts asking you for a magaru. Like, this is the basic tool for your job. Of course, there are those things that will influence customer buying perceptions. But of course, there are businesses where having a car is paramount. Then you buy a car. But also there are businesses where having a UBL is also important. Businesses where you're selling like investment. You're trying to get someone to invest 100 million in a business. Coming on a border will negatively influence the customer. If you're trying to get a customer to buy a house, 200 million, and then you come on a border, seriously, the customer is going to think olimu yaye, oliba no broker abayaye. You get it? And businesses like those, it needs for you to buy a car that is almost new or that looks new. Now, I'm not saying that you should buy a new car. I'm going to remind you the benefits you get from buying a new car. There are only 3. This is my opinion. Someone else will give you another opinion. My opinion, you get only 3 benefits from buying a new car from the bond. 1, it looks new. First, the new look starts from the number plate. It's a UBM, UBH, okay? It has a new feel on the body, new feel in the interior. The dashboard is new, it's not cracked at all. It looks clean. That's one benefit. Second benefit, you get the prestige of people look at you different. Wachikuba or innocente. Okay? The third benefit is that you don't get to go to the garage as often as Arthur in his AM. Benefit number 3, for example, that one no one ever sees. Like if I don't tell you that the mechanic came and fixed something on my car, you will not know. If I drive away and I go to the garage and I don't tell you that I went to the garage, you will not know. So that benefit is interior satisfaction. That okay, sigenze mu garage. But I also told you that I bought my car. This car, I will not tell you the amount I bought it, but the amount I've fixed can't buy a person in a bond. Yet the person that bought a person, the same period that I bought this car, has also done some fixing in the car. Some people that don't bought Pasos in the bond have already bought new engines because the engines of Pasos are old. I told you that before. They have already bought engines. Some have already bought gearboxes. Some have already been involved in accidents. Some have fixed as much as fixed even without buying engines. They have bought new shocks, they have bought suspension, they have bought brakes, they have fixed cylinders, they have fixed steering racks. You get what I'm saying? So, you don't know whether someone has gone to the garage or not unless you're that person. So that, the third benefit I cannot guarantee. You get. But there are 3 benefits. I've told you the benefits you get from buying a new car. Now, I'm going to tell you that, of course, they come at a cost. I can buy a used Spacio at 12 to 13 million and I drive it for 8 months without fixing anything. You go and buy a new Spacio from the bond at 25, 26 million, you spend 8 months without fixing anything. And the time we start fixing, we're all fixing the same things. We buy new tires, we buy new shocks, we fix the same things basically. That's the time we start fixing. The time we start fixing the cars, 8 months from now, from the time we've bought. Now, the only benefit you got, the only 2 benefits you got, and I might have gotten the benefits as well, because if I was driving a Chibina at that I bought 5 million and I topped up 7 million and I bought 13 million, trust me, in my circles, na chikuba. So I got the benefit of prestige as much as you. Of course, you got a little more because of Inaka Nanga. The other benefit that, the benefit probably that you got that I didn't was the new car feel. But the new car feel is subjective. I feel it, you feel it. Depends. If I was driving a Chibina that was dirty in and out, and I buy a Spacio at 13 million that is fairly clean, I'll also have the new car feel. You get. But I've spent 13, you spent 26. You spend 13 more millions to get your car. I don't know if you get what I'm saying. You can get a new car feel, you can get the prestige, you can get the not going to the garage, even while spending less money. You get. So, of course, all the benefits that you get in buying a new car from the bond, someone can get them from buying an old car, a fairly used old car in Uganda. You get. So, katezo benefits agara zikangi. The only thing that an old car buyer invests in a lot more than you is they have to pay someone to actually inspect the car thoroughly if they don't want to make a mistake of buying a bad car. You, on the other hand, who is buying a car from the bond, chances are high that even when you don't get someone to inspect your car, there are chances that you will get a good car. I think you get what I'm saying. There are chances that you'll get a good car even without inspection. This doesn't happen to the person that is buying an old car. Chances are high that they'll get a bad car without inspection. You get. The benefit I get from buying an old car that the new car guy doesn't get is that I save money. Also, when I buy an old car, even if I have to fix things, normally there are things I don't have to fix there and then. There will be things that I have to fix over time. I drive it for a week, we go to the garage, okay, and I fix something small. I drive it for another week, I go to the garage and I simply fix what needs to be fixed. You get? And sometimes you'll buy an old car and even those things need to be fixed. But because it's new, your psychology is telling you, I have nothing to fix, I have nothing to fix. And you get the shocks out, you realize the shocks were bad. You get it? But this is a rare case with the new cars. I hope you get. Yes, good morning, Julius. Thank you for being here. I hope I'm making sense though. It's important that you don't you don't get that I'm telling you to not buy a new car. Go and buy a new car if it makes sense to you. But I want you to know that it's not always about you going to the bond and buying a new car that you'll get peace. Good morning, Patrick. You get, me, I have peace in my Corolla that I bought very cheaply. I've fixed some things, but after getting out of the now, because after yesterday I decided, okay, let me just say this, because I've been thinking about it for some time. Let me just say this. So this is my final verdict. The new car gives you three main benefits. Now I'm on the Northern Bypass. You guys enjoy the view. Of course, the Northern Bypass has a speed limit of 70 kilometers per hour. I'm doing 70 kilometers. I don't know what speed these guys that are overtaking me, they are driving, but they are driving pretty fast. Yeah. So on the Northern Bypass, the speed limit is 70 kilometers per hour. But people are driving more than that. Since they're overtaking me and I'm doing 70. I try as much as possible to personally respect the speed limits, because I know it's not by accident that these guys decided to put speed limit of 70 kilometers per hour. So if you disrespect that, you may end up and then as you're entering a town or a roundabout, then they tell you 50 kilometers per hour. I'm sure you've seen the signpost there. This is how to enter a roundabout. You enter slow, make sure you don't crash into anyone. So this is the Sentema Road. For the guys that have not been in Uganda for some time, this is the Sentema Road, the one that heads to Mengo. Yeah, I'm going to my first appointment of the day. Of course, it's at 9 and it's 8. It's only 8. I like to keep time, because if you set off late and then you find jam and then you get there late and then you want some kamani from this person and then they don't give you the kamani because you came late, it will be your fault. But if you're there on time and this person doesn't give you the kamani, it's not your fault. You know that, well, this person just didn't want to give me the kamani. I have my tea. I'm equipped with tea. I'm just going to buy zombies along the way to top up with the breakfast. Of course, I have breakfast. My wife packs me breakfast. Yeah, that's one of the benefits of having a wife, a loving wife. Yeah, she packs food stuff for you. So you know why even when my sister-in-law gave me the look yesterday when I was in the UBM, I did not think about it. Yeah, but trust me, the new car gives you stairs, my brother. So if for example your challenge is getting laid, you should buy, if you're a hustler, buy a car at 10 million, then a plot at 10 million. Life will be good. Exactly, my brother Stuart. Instead of buying a car at 20 million and then you have no plot. But you also need to know that a car can perish in one day. You can be getting out of the fence and the fuso that has lost braking power crashes into your car and finishes your car. I hope you understand that. You can be driving on another bypass, you lose brakes and then you crash into another car and your car perishes like that. But a plot of land doesn't perish. That's why I've told you that for me, cars, I keep money in my cars. Okay, in case I need a capital reboost in my business, the first thing I sell is the car, get capital, and then buy a simpler car. I downgrade whenever I need to downgrade. There are traffic officers everywhere. I think you can see them. Yeah, I downgrade when I need to downgrade. That helps me to keep capital, keep a car. Say panka anti moroka sijitunda. The things that don't get touched, plots of land don't get sold just like that. Plots of land don't get sold like that. Houses don't get sold like that. Where is this one? Yeah, so there is a lot of traffic police in Uganda, guys. If you're watching me from Uganda, then you would know that if you don't have a driving permit, don't drive. If you, for example, have a bad car, don't drive. Katifabe yagala. Our cars are in good. Yes, I bought an old car, but it's in very good condition. I bought it less than 10 million, by the way. Less than 10. Also less than 8. Yeah, so you can buy an old car at a very low price in the way yagala nganzi. Of course, you need to do very good inspection, which I'm good at. And my car that I bought at less than 8 even has SC. So when Sanga Ewali and Fufu, I raise my windows and I put ice cold and I enjoy. So Stuart has given us a very good advice down there, that instead of buying a car of 20 to 25 million, get a plot 20 million, get a car, get a plot 10 million, get a car 10 million, and if you had 20 to 30 million, you can even have a balance to start construction. Yeah, I tell away Yagari. Now, I used to tell you that Primos are overpriced. You see that Primo there, UBA? Someone can tell you to buy it at 20 million. Don't. It's not worth it, because you won't sell it 20 million. But they'll tell you Primo is a very strong car. Primo doesn't break down on the road. So what? Does that mean wasting money? You can get a Primo at 7 million and enjoy it. That model, that old model there, you can get it at 7 million and still have nothing to fix. You get, because there are people that are simply selling cars because they are upgrading and they understand the value of the cars they have. So when people understand the value of the cars they have, they don't overprice. It's normally the brokers that overprice cars. You get. So when someone is upgrading to a newer car, a better car, a newer model, you'll find that they are selling to you a car that is in good condition at a fair price. You get. Of course, when I bought my car cheaply, then I started fixing things. The windscreen was cracked. I put a windscreen. It had no tires. Put new tires. Then I went and resprayed it. Then I fixed the suspension system. Basically, those are the major things I did. Yeah. The rest of the fixing, even the new car owner fixes them. Brake pads. They even fix the suspension. But me, I've calculated that when I bought my car, the suspension was not so good, so I fixed it. Yeah. So I think those are the major changes that I did with my car. Of course, I bought it from the village. That's why when I tell you don't buy a car from the village, I know what I'm talking about. It had a few rusted areas, which forced me to actually. And the biggest reason I resprayed my car was not because it needed respraying. I had an accident myself. I knocked a border guy. Okay, we knocked each other, and he crashed into my passenger door, the driver, the front door passenger, the front passenger door. He crashed into it badly, and I had to replace the door. Now, when I went to Chiseka Market to buy the door, it was a different color, and I put it. So traffic police stopped me one day, and they told me, we are going to fine you. You're driving a car that has different colors. And just like that, I decided to respray the entire car, because it didn't make sense for me to spray one door at 100k or 80k when I can spray the entire car at 600,000. So I simply paid 600k and they resprayed the entire car. I went ahead and got new number plates for my car. Yeah, I got a reprint of number plates and I put them there. Yeah, so I did not respray because necessarily it was needed, because me, I was comfortable with my car not resprayed. But then because police didn't Tawanya, I decided to respray it. So there you have it. The 600,000, I spent it because I wanted to spend it. I would have just spent 80,000 to spray the door, and I drive my car, but I decided to respray the entire car. Yeah. Just know when you buy an old car, the things you will need to buy are the tires. And if you buy a small car like mine, that's about 700,000, 800. They have even done wheel balancing. Then you'll add a 40,000 for wheel alignment. I hope I'm clear. So, but a new car is always better. Trust me. A new thing is always new, especially for the feeling of I'm driving a new thing. But if you're a hustler like me, if you're a rich kid, or mind there are rich kids, your dad is rich, your mom is rich, your family is rich, you can go ahead and buy a new car. Or if you find that the car is your priority at that time, we have different priorities. I'm not saying that a person that has a priority of buying a new car has no priorities. If the car is a bigger priority for you at the time, you can go and buy a new car. Okay, you can buy a new car in a way yagala, and then you decide on buying land and building a house later. Okay, but for me things are quite different for me because I was orphaned at 2 years and I literally had no inheritance, so I had to build everything I have from scratch. It means if you want your kids to have a home, they call home, you have to build a home for them. Okay, if you want to have an inheritance for your kids, you actually have to build an inheritance for them. I'm also the kind of person that believes that we can change this country, and one of the ways for us to change this country is to actually create employment for other people. I told you I'm a performing artist. I create films and I create dramas, and I work with a lot of very talented people, and our industry is still growing, so it needs people like me that can actually create employment. And I work with 15 very good, very well and very, very talented people, and I believe I can create employment for these guys. A very good salary, very good benefits like medical insurance and all. Yeah, so I'm trying to build a business that can be sustainable to that end. And you cannot do those things, build an inheritance for your kids, build a home for your kids, a good home, and as well build a good sustainable business while also concentrating on buying a new you're watching from the Horn of Africa. Is that Egypt? Libya? Where from the Horn of Africa, my brother? So I've made it out of myself that it will be much more important for me to first accomplish these other things, then new cars will come later, because for me I believe that new cars are a prestige. Okay, that if you can get access to a used car, because even in America, even in Europe, people still buy used cars. Okay, so I don't see a reason why here in Africa or in Uganda a brother of mine will say like I believe that you have supposed to be a high net worth individual, or your family is supposed to be high net worth for you to be able to say kakati njagala kanamba, because the benefits are only 3, like I've told you, only 3 benefits. And the old car, like now you see I've already driven 35 kilometers to drop my kids to school, but now I am driving to an appointment in my old car, and I've been with you for like an hour. The car has not broken down at all. Or you know what I mean? You get it. So you can also get an old car if you pick it properly and you drive and enjoy it like the person driving a new car. You get. So you just have the thing is inspection. You need to inspect it properly and you make sure that it's good. And I bought it less than 10 million. So if you have 10 million, I'm telling you, with 10 you can get a very good car in very good condition. No jivugane way yagana. Also, one thing I realized that when you have a small budget, it's important that tewero ndanyo. I have 10 million, for example, but I want a Spacio. If not a Spacio, sija jivuga. I have 10 million, I can't drive a Vitz. When you have a small budget, your goal should be to get a car that will not disturb you. Your goal should be to get a car that will not disturb you. Of course, there are types that I don't recommend. If you have 10 million, there's no reason why you buy a Primo old model. There's no reason why you buy a Honda CR-V. There is no reason why you buy a Gaia. I'm sure you know that very ugly car that is called Gaia. Somalia is all here. Somalia is also in Horn of Africa. Yes, my brother, thank you for being here. Yeah, so there is no reason why you buy a Gaia. The guy is very ugly. I normally tell my friends that the Gaia looks like the guys in the factory were absent-minded, and then they were reminded that the boss was coming, and then they had to make something quickly. He had given them the deadline, so they beat something up. They never Gaia, never take and that's how the Gaia came to be, because it's very ugly. That car is ugly. The guy is a Ipsam. There is no reason why you buy heap some at 10 million. When you have 10 million, basically when you have 10 million, you have a lot of choices of cars you can buy. At 10 million, you can even get a Paso that is still in good condition. Okay, at 10 million, you basically have a lot of choices. Don't joke around. You need to inspect the cars properly. Okay, but I would recommend that if you can raise 13 million, you raise 13 million and then you buy some newer models of cars. You can get a Raum new model, you can get a Spacio new model at 13. Now you say out driving, these taxi guys are playing in the road, and that's how they bring traffic jam. That's how they bring traffic jam. So I'm almost at my first appointment today, but don't worry, it doesn't happen until 9. So you guys, do you have questions? I hope I've made a fair comparison already. Okay, old cars are as good as new cars. I'll give you an example. Me, I used to say and I would buy all these Technos. They go buy Techno at 400, 500, until I realized that Samsungs can do the kind of work I do better. So now I Techno Nazivam. I hold an old Samsung S8 because it has the camera that serves the purpose. The camera on a Samsung S8 is as good as an HD DSLR camera. You can record video on this Samsung that looks as good as video recorded on a Canon 5D. That can happen, and that's what I'm looking for. So normally when you're buying something, buy the purpose. Don't buy the feeling. You see, majority of new car buyers, they buy the feeling, they don't buy the purpose. You get what I'm saying? So me, I started buying purpose. Even when I'm buying cars, I buy purpose. For example, when I was buying this Corolla, someone offered to sell me a Corolla UBA, same Corolla, but his was 2007 model, and he was selling to me at 13 million, the same amount that the brokers were willing to buy. In fact, brokers bought it 13 million, and then they sold it 16 million. I did not buy that car at that time because it didn't make sense to me. It was manual, and actually the brokers spent about 6 months trying to sell the car. Okay, they spent 6 months. Now for me, 6 months when I'm driving that car, it would have lost value, a lot of value, because I'd be driving it 85 kilometers every day. You get what I'm saying? So I did not buy that car. I chose to buy the cheap version that I bought less than 10 million, less than 8 million, and I'm still on the road. You get what I'm saying? So sometimes it's me, I buy purpose. I don't buy the feeling. Hello Arthur, what is the best Rumion between 1.5 to 1.8? It depends on what you're going to be using the Rumion for. Of course, the 1.5 kind of consumes less fuel, but remember, these cars have the same body. They literally have the same things. The only thing that changes is the engine. Okay, so if you're the kind of person, if you're a hustler, and you're going periodically, you periodically will be loading this car with stuff, I would recommend that you buy the 1.8cc, because the 1.8cc engine has more power. I don't know if you get what I'm saying. You buy the 1.8cc engine simply for the power, not for. So I'm parking here because I'm actually 40 minutes earlier for my meeting. So the Rumion, you can buy the 1.5cc if you're going to be driving it. That I drive it from home to work with my family every day. I don't put in cool. I don't go to the farm with it. You can buy the 1.5cc. However, if you are going to be using it for business, carrying stuff, delivery, I'd recommend you buy the 1.8cc because it has more power. I don't know if I make sense. It depends on the purpose. Like I'm saying, you should buy purpose, don't buy the feeling. Purpose makes more sense for me, and I'm sure later on it will also make more sense for you guys. Purpose is always better when you're buying a car. Okay, so the old car, if you're going to buy, for example, Rumion, we don't know the fatalities, okay, the bad things that come with the Rumion, because it's a fairly new car. Majority of the people that have Rumion have not even driven it for a year. Majority of them. And when you buy a car from the bond, the first 1 year has no problems at all. The second year has no problems at all. Okay, during the third year, that's when people start having problems. Normally the problems that happen with those cars within the first and second year are the problems that have come with dust has gone into the air flow meter, the plugs are worn out, you need to change an air cleaner, you serviced the... Yes, you can get the Primo new shape at 14. Of course, you'll not get the latest number plates, you'll get UAZ, UAY, but it will still be in very good condition, by the way. It will still be in very good condition. Yeah. So normally the problems that happen to new bond cars in the first, second and third years are problems that can be solved very quickly if you get a good mechanic. Okay, normally problems that get with brakes, I've hit a stone and then my oil is leaking. Okay, the seal, the top cover seal is worn out, so I need to change it. Those are very basic things that happen to bond cars. Yeah, I think it's something that has happened with my old car here, my UAM. I think I changed the seal, the top cover seal. I changed brakes, I changed shocks, I changed the suspension system basically. I've not fixed anything in the engine. Of course, I went to Toyota and bought new plugs. Since then I've not bought plugs again. I changed the air cleaner. I've serviced it because I move a lot. I've resprayed it. I've not done anything other than that in my old car. So that I bought it less than 8 million, and I bought it from the village. So if you buy a car in the city, in town, especially it would be a good thing for you to buy a car that moves periodically, goes up country. That would be a very good car for you. Okay, yeah, but I've realized that cars that are 1.5cc and below, new or old, are usually weak. Yeah, of course, Rumion is overpriced. I've told you this time and again. But if you want the Rumion, you want the Rumion. The heart wants what it wants. 30 million is too much, my brother. I mean, at 30 million, I can get a fairly used drone, and I would also be making money out of it. You get, eh? At 30 million, you can get a good Kawondo. Now, I'm just saying, because majority of the people that buy Rumion buy it because it looks nice. But does a Rumion look nicer than Kawondo? You get, at 30 million, you can get a good used Kawondo here. Nothing to fix, by the way. At 30 million, you get a Chigege. A Chigege, the old, not the drone, but the Chigege. That the one that will make money for you without fixing a lot. Chigege. You get. So, but it's math. If you decide to, if I had 30 million, I'd buy a Chigege. Not use it for taxi, but of course, I'd not fail to get money out of it. At 30 million, you can get a good Alphard. I think Alphard makes money for car hire. You get, it makes a lot of it for you can hire it at around 300 a day, 200 a day. So I'm thinking, how much can you hire a Rumion for? You can buy a Rumion, give it to an Uber guy who gives you 150 a week. But the Alphard, people can give you 200 a day. Even the Kawondo, people can give you 200 a day to hire you Kawondo. Chigege can make you 150 a day. A Chigege at 30 million. You get. So I find that the Rumion is overpriced, but the heart wants what it wants. Trust me, if you have the money and you want the Rumion, buy it. You can die tomorrow, and that would be the biggest regret you have as a person. So it's important that if you want a Rumion and you can afford it, go buy it. But for hustlers like me, my advice has been that new cars give you only 3 benefits: new car smell, new car feel, new car look. That's one benefit. Prestige. The ladies look at you differently, and for us men, that's what we want. And for you women, even you, the ladies also look at you different, because normally the women don't compete. They compete with themselves. You get, women don't compete with other men. No. We compete to win women most of the times. Okay? So the ladies will look at you differently for the guys. For the ladies, your fellow women will look at you different. At your workplace, you'll look different. Yeah, that's the other. You'll get prestige. The third benefit is that you don't get to go to the garage as often as me, who was a UAM. But you know, if you've seen me, I've been broadcasting every morning for the past 1 week. So, and sometimes I broadcasted even in the evening as I went, and I worked during the day. So I've not gone to the garage for the past 1 week. For the past 2 months, I've not gone to the garage at all. And then the last time I went to the garage, I was buying new cylinders for my car, and that is random because I bought the car hadn't stopped moving, but I just had to change them. I hope you get what I'm saying. So and my car also moves 85 kilometers a day, so it moves a distance daily that people drive in a week. So if my car has things that I need to fix every 2 or 3 months, it makes perfect sense because the distance I drive in 3 months, people drive in a year. I don't know if you get what I'm saying. So it makes perfect sense. Sometimes you have to consider yourself. No manya kakate moro kendo wemanji vuga rugendo bweruti. That's why government cars bazivuga emyaka ebiri esatu and they dispose of. Why? Because some of those government cars move long distances. You'll find that a car goes to Gulu every 2 days. So it drives it has a lot of mileage on the clock. So they consider that after this number of years, this car is tired enough, let us get a new car. Okay? For example, the presidential cars, they move him very fast to all the places in the country. You get? So I think it's only fair that they buy in brand new cars, and then after a given mileage, they dispose of the cars. You get? So it's purely mathematics. I've also told you the benefits you get from the car. The first main benefit you get from buying an old car is that you save money. While my brother is buying a Rumion at 30 million, I get 13 million and I buy a used Spacio here on UAZ. Okay? I fix minor things about 1 million, so I spend 14. He has spent 30 million. So I save 16 million if I have I had the 30 million. I have 16 million on my account to decide to do with what. I can decide to buy a plot of land. I can decide to buy more stock for my shop if I have a shop. Now, for example, me is trying to build a business where I'm employing people. I can decide to create more products and sell them. Now, if I bought a new car at 30 million, I would not have that money to create products. You get what I'm saying? You will not have that money to put more stock in your shop. So it's basic mathematics. So it's important that it's important that you do the math now in Osara Chechi. I don't want to dictate. I'm not saying new cars are bad or old cars are bad. I know people that have been driving old cars for the past 30 years and they have peace. I also know people that have been driving Kanamba, that whenever a new number plate comes out, that person buys the new number plate and they have peace with their new cars. You get? So it's a choice that we make as people. I also know people that have a new girlfriend every year and they have peace. I also know people like me that have one woman and they also have peace. You get? I know people that like me that I can handle a phone for 3 years and we have peace. It gets cracked, but I still hold it. You get? I also know people that buy a new phone every 5 months and we all have peace. Other than that, guys, I hope I've made a very fair comparison, guys. Do you have a question? This is the time to ask it because I'm about to go. My appointment is happening in the next 10 minutes, so I have to go and pack and then get ready so that I look nice for the money that I want to receive. Pray for me so that I get that car money. Yeah, I need it. My kids need school fees. They need swimming money. So Brian, Kenneth, Abby, Bruce, Fred, Stuart, Julius, and Patrick, thank you very much, guys. And of course Emma, yeah, and Karim, thank you very much, guys, for being here. Bruce is asking, can you get a Fielder model, a new model at 18 million, which is a new BG? Unlikely, because now a Fielder Kokanamba is at around 30 to 35 million in the bond. So UBG you'll get at around 24 or 23. But also I said so many things influence the car you get, not just the number plate. It also the timing, also who is selling, where are they selling from, because you can find a UBG at 18 million naenga, it's bad. You get, you have a lot of things to fix. You find a UBG at 18 million and you need tires, Now the field that takes 15 size tires, that's 1 million down. So you buy 18 and you put tires at 19. Then you find that the shocks are dead, 200. You find that you're going to spend an extra 800. That's you spent 20 million already. You get so you find that you're going there, and then you find that you need to respray it, but you have bought it cheap. So it depends on the math that you want to do. Sometimes it's better to buy something that is already intact and not fixable if you're going to spend the same amount to fix it. The only time I recommend to buy an older car is when the amount you're going to use to put it in the shape you want it doesn't reach the amount that the person who is going to buy a new car will spend. I hope I make sense. Yeah. So 18 million for a Fielder UBG, it's unlikely, but you can try your luck. But when you get it, you need to make sure that you inspect it a lot, yeah, so that you don't make a mistake with your money. It's your hand cash, yeah. So I have to say bye guys. It has been a very good 1 hour and 30 minutes. If you don't have any more questions, okay, this thing is not giving me the comments. I want to appreciate you for being here, yeah. So Karim, Bruce, Stuart, Emma, Patrick, Julius, Brian, Abby, Kenneth, yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for being here. Lastly, sir, some good cars I can get at 15 million. 15 million you can get a Fielder, not the newer model though. If it's a new model, then it will not be a very current number plate. You can get a Spacio, you can get a Rawoom, you can get a RAV4, even the new model of the RAV4. You can get the Harrier, old model. You can get a very good Corolla, my Corolla. You can get a good Noah. Thank you. So thank you, Stuart. You can actually get even a super custom if you're the kind of person that is into business. I'm trying to look around. You can get a Alex. You can get the Alex. You can get the IST. Not very current number plates, but very good condition. You can get the Ractis. You can get the Sienta. You can get a Paso, even the Paso Sete. You can get the Mark II Grand. You can get a Mark X. You can literally get all types of cars. You can get a Primo. You can even get a Chigege. Yeah. I think I've said almost all the cars that are normally on this road, on the Ugandan roads. I'll go and park as I try to figure out which cars you can get. As I go to my appointment, we can keep talking as I figure out which cars you can get at 15 million. But all those cars that I've talked about, you can get. I could have parked here and left my car here, but I'm the kind of person that believes my car is my asset. I'm going to pay, let's say, 3,000 in there for parking. But it's better for me to pay 3,000 and not lose a car or a light or a side mirror than to save that money. And actually, people park here outside here. But since I want to go make money, I'll go and pay. I don't want to be a miser. Besides, the car is safer in here. Yeah. Jebale baba. Ninakuwa bidi. So where should I park? So I'm at this Masengere building. You remember the Masengere building that the Katikiro built? Katikiro Uganda, yeah. Yeah, this is where my appointment today is. I know they told us not to share our locations on social media, but what are you going to do? I'm not rich, so I don't expect anyone to want to target me for anything. yeah, you can actually the cars that I mentioned are the cars that are even in this parking lot. Noah, Alex, Fielder, RAV4. You can get even a Mercedes Benz, by the way. You can get a Mercedes Benz. You can get a Mercedes Benz, the C200 that was recommended by my engineer Kasim, Benz mechanic. You can get one that is in very good condition. Yeah. So for the guys that come from villages like Masaka and all that, Pewosa is there. Their branch is here. You can send me in and I do some savings for you. Let me just make it shorter so the next person doesn't have a hard time parking. Yeah, so you guys, I think it's time for me to go. It's 8:40. Normally when I have an appointment at 9, I want to be in that person's office at 8:50, so that if, for example, now that I'm going for Kamane, if they don't have the Kamane, they can say to get the ATM West Cent Baba Andavie, or they can borrow from someone Bapaka Center. You need to be sharp in this Uganda of ours. If you're not sharp, you end up not making money. So you guys, thank you very much for giving me your time. It's time for me to go. I think I've answered your question, my brother. 15 million. 15 million, you're basically, like I told you, 15 million is a lot of money. You get, eh? Yeah. Thank you very much, guys, for being here. May God bless you and have a good day.